Cleetus McFarland just landed one of the biggest honors of his racing career. He got the call to serve as Grand Marshal at Michigan International Speedway, the 2-mile oval that's hosted NASCAR for decades, right before a Truck Series race. He leaned out the window of his number 4 Chevrolet, grabbed the radio, and delivered a command meant to honor the sport's fallen legends. For a few seconds, it felt like the perfect tribute, but almost instantly, fans online noticed something missing: one name. Maybe the biggest one of all. The race was the DQS Solutions and Staffing 250, and McFarland wasn't just there as a celebrity guest. His path to this moment is part of why it matters so much to fans. He spent years building one of the biggest car culture channels on YouTube, running burnout competitions and drag races out of his own shop in Florida. Slowly, that turned into real seat time, and now he's a full-time presence in the Truck Series. So when Michigan announced he'd be giving the Grand Marshal command, it felt like a milestone, the kind of crossover moment that almost never happens in NASCAR. He climbed into his Chevrolet, and instead of the usual line every fan expects, he shouted something far more personal. "Be like Biff. Do it for Dale. And drivers, start your engines." To a casual viewer, that might have sounded like just another quirky Cleetus moment. But to anyone who follows his channel closely, those two lines carry real weight. They're tributes to two men McFarland clearly cares about. And that's where this story actually starts. Just months earlier, on December 18, 2025, a small business jet went down at Statesville Regional Airport in North Carolina.
That 7 confirmed occupants that were on the aircraft are deceased.
Breaking news out of Statesville: 7 people have died after a plane crashed at the airport there in Statesville. It is believed that former NASCAR driver Greg Biffle is one of those occupants on the plane who died after airport staff.
The plane belonged to Greg Biffle, the 55-year-old former Cup Series driver known to fans simply as Biff. Biffle, his wife Christina, and their 2 children, Ryder and Emma, were all on board. 3 other passengers were with them. None of them survived the crash. At the time, Biffle and his family were on their way to Florida to visit McFarland. The two had built a genuine friendship over the years, and Biffle had shown up on Cleetus's channel more than once. After the crash, McFarland released a tribute video called The One and Only Greg Biffle. From that point on, he started ending his videos with a brand new line: "Be like Biff." It became part of his identity as a creator, a permanent nod to a friend he lost far too soon. The second line, "Do it for Dale," goes back even further. Dale Earnhardt is one of the most beloved drivers in NASCAR history, and he died on the final lap of the 2001 Daytona 500. Coming out of turn 4, his number 3 Chevrolet Monte Carlo got tapped by Sterling Marlin, clipped Kenny Schrader's car, and slammed into the wall at around 160 miles an hour. On television, the crash didn't even look that bad. But an autopsy later revealed Earnhardt suffered a basilar skull fracture, the kind of injury caused by extreme deceleration forces. His death changed NASCAR forever, leading to major safety reforms across the entire sport, things like the head and neck restraint systems and the softer walls drivers race against today. For McFarland, "Do It for Dale" is a tribute to that legacy, a reminder of how far racing has come since that day at Daytona. So with Biff and Dale both honored, the command should have felt complete. Except this wasn't just any Truck Series race. It was the first Truck Series race since the death of Kyle Busch. To understand why that's such a big deal, you have to understand who Kyle Busch actually is to this sport. Nicknamed Rowdy, Busch built a reputation as one of the most talented and most polarizing drivers NASCAR has ever seen. He won 2 Cup Series championships, racked up dozens of wins across every major series NASCAR runs, and spent 2 decades as one of the faces of the sport, for better or worse depending on which fan you ask. Busch, the 2-time Cup Series champion, passed away on May 21, 2026. He was just 41 years old. According to reports, he developed pneumonia that turned into sepsis, and he didn't survive it. His death hit the entire NASCAR community hard, and it's still being felt at every track the series visits. Here's why that mattered so much in this specific race. Kyle Busch isn't just remembered as a Cup Series star. He holds the all-time win record in the Truck Series with 69 victories. Nobody else is even close to that number. For a lot of fans, the Truck Series practically is Kyle Busch's house. And on the first night back at that house since his passing, the Grand Marshal stood up, honored two legends by name, and said nothing about the man who built the record book for that exact series. In the days around the race, Busch's family had also been speaking publicly for the first time. His widow shared a hospital promise she'd made to him before his death. His brother, Kurt Busch, opened up about finding what he called a silver lining while grieving the loss of his younger brother. And Busch's son, Brexton, posted his first message since losing his dad, a moment that hit a lot of fans hard. With all of that happening at the exact same time, the timing of McFarland's command stood out even more. It didn't take long for people to notice the gap. On social media, reactions started piling up almost as soon as the cars rolled off pit road at Michigan International Speedway. One fan wrote that it sat wrong with them, knowing Busch had been left out. Another said it felt awkward, especially in the truck series, where Busch's name means everything. Some fans went further, asking if McFarland had some kind of issue with Busch, pointing out they couldn't recall him ever really talking about Busch on his channel before. Others tried to be more constructive, throwing out lines they thought would have worked better. One suggestion was be like Biff, race like Rowdy, and do it for Dale, working Busch's nickname directly into the tribute. Another fan said the command should have ended with "Let's get rowdy" instead of the usual "Start your engines," turning Busch's own catchphrase into the closing line. Whether McFarland left Busch out on purpose, forgot in the moment, or just didn't think about it ahead of time, nobody really knows. But in a sport that's lost 3 major figures in less than 6 months, Greg Biffle and his family in December, every public moment carries extra weight, and a lot of fans clearly felt like this one got missed. The hardest part is that McFarland was not standing there as an outsider. He was standing there as one of the new faces NASCAR has welcomed in. That is why the reaction was so sharp. Fans were not just judging a command. They were judging a moment, because in racing, names matter. They are painted on walls, carried on helmets, stitched into fire suits, and repeated long after the cars go quiet. Dale became part of NASCAR's safety story. Biff became part of Cleetus's personal story. And Kyle Busch, whether people loved him or booed him, became part of the truck series itself. That is what made the silence feel so loud. Maybe it was not meant as disrespect. Maybe it was just a line that was planned before anyone thought about the bigger meaning. But once it happened, fans heard what was missing. And in a sport built on memory, sometimes the name you do not say becomes the one everyone remembers.